Okay. Welcome to the Scoop Order. Happy Friday. Round 2 and 3 of the draft are tonight, so we're going to get into that a little bit. It has already kicked off, so we're going to have some live updates. Keon Coleman went first overall to the Buffalo Bills, a very good player, Michigan State starter, and now he went to Florida State. Very, very good player. So we're going to go into that, see if Mike Hall or Cade Stover potentially get drafted tonight. And also, we're talking about, does Will Howard have the projection to potentially be a first-round pick after Bo Nix went 12th overall? Another transfer, another guy that was underutilized at Auburn, went to Oregon. So we're going to talk about all that. As always, we're going to take your questions as well. Again, we appreciate you guys. Thank you for kicking with us on this Friday night. We know the draft is going on. We know there's a lot going on. But, the draft is, it's been kind of amped up by Roger Goodell with it being on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday scenario. It used to be on a Saturday, Sunday scenario. So I'm very excited to see who goes tonight. I'm hoping that Cade Stover goes second or third round. I think potentially Mike Hall is in the mix tonight. So we're going to get into all of that. As always, if you guys enjoy this content, please leave us a like, click subscribe, also click that little alert bell. Again, we appreciate you guys kicking over this each and every night. This is a huge show because you guys make it one. So thank you guys for that, as always. Shout out where you guys are watching from. Shout out who you guys are watching with. Shout out, what was your favorite pick of the draft last night? Again, I think Jim Harbaugh is actually killing the draft with taking Joe Alt. He took Ladd McConkey, who I think could be the best receiver in the draft outside of Marvin. And Joe Alt is obviously the best offensive lineman. So he's killing it. Who else is killing it? The Browns will be picking, I think, at like 54. So who are you excited to see? The Bengals took a first-round pick from Georgia, Amarius Mims. So we'll break all of that down, as always. That being said, Nevada, the draft has been crazy. It's been wild. The Packers took a left tackle, likely to replace David Bakhtiari. Any thoughts on that? We had one Buckeye go. Obviously, Marvin went fourth overall to the Cardinals. What are your thoughts on what happened last night and into tonight?
Well, I mean, I think the story of the draft clearly, to me, was just the value that teams place on quarterbacks, and watching the quarterbacks just go one after another was just kind of crazy. And when you see Bo Nix go with the 12th pick in the first round to the Broncos, it just was really an eye opener. It really, got me thinking about the next year's draft, and about where does Will Howard fit into that? Where does Quinn Ewers, Carson Beck, Dylan Gabriel, all those guys kind of fit into the equation next year? Because clearly NFL teams right now value that position. I mean, there hasn't been a running back taken. I think the first defensive player taken was like 15 or something like that. So it just shows you the premium that these NFL teams are putting on offensive players, specifically quarterbacks and wide receivers. And and obviously offensive linemen, but it was stunning to me to see Penix go before McCarthy. Was not surprising to me. I think that was surprising to a lot of other people. But if you remember, Nevadabuck was handing out free money the last 48 hours. I told you guys, I'm like, Marvin Harrison, first wide receiver taken, minus 1,000. You said, why would you bet something minus 1,000? That's 10% return on your money in one day. 10% return on your money in one day. That was free. And then J.J. McCarthy not to be in the top 5 was plus 140. More free money from Nevadabuck. So we're literally just handing out free money to people here. So not only is the show free, but you can get rich by listening to the picks, following the wisdom. And I thought the NFL draft really kind of went to form yesterday, but man, quarterback, the offensive players are certainly the meta, at least in terms of NFL GMs, and I think it's going to continue on to second day, and that's why I don't even think, has there been a running back taken yet in the draft?
Not as of 2 seconds ago. I'm literally putting the draft up on YouTube TV. Shout out YouTube TV. Appreciate all you do for Buckeye Scoop. You guys need to be a part of our program. But I have not seen a running back go yet. I just saw the defensive tackle that was actually from Illinois just went. So it is it's just one of those things where it's not really a coveted position. Obviously, I think Ezekiel. The funny thing about Ezekiel is like he got out when the getting was good, because it's just like, oh my god, you know, he went that high and it's all good.
Well,
But
it's like teams have just kind of decided that the running back position is just kind of fungible, where they can just kind of move one guy in, and that there's just not that much difference between the positions. And um, I obviously that's backed up by analytics and that's backed up by a belief. I don't believe that. I look at what teams, what a great running back can do for certain teams, and what but a pedestrian running back can do. And um, I don't share this view, but I think that the NFL is kind of dominated by groupthink. They start, it's like this quarterback. This quarterback thing is ridiculous because these guys are
yeah.
getting way valued, overvalued, and everybody feels like they just have to go take a quarterback. I mean, look at the Falcons. The Falcons went out and signed Kirk Cousins to a ridiculous. I don't even know how much money, 160 million or whatever it was that they gave him, and then went out and drafted Michael Penix on top of that. So it's just like, um, I get that you want to have get somebody at the position, but if you look at how many guys are available, either through free agency or through trades or other means, you can get a quarterback in other ways other than throwing away draft capital at the top of the draft and just willy nilly throwing away things to try and some sort of effort. I almost feel like they're just throwing darts, desperate to kind of hit the next Patrick Mahomes or something, because it's crazy how they're valuing some of these guys that I don't even think are first round talents and are going in the top 10. It's literally insane to me.
Yeah, I quarterback is a position where if I ran a team, which I've said on, I'd pay free agency for a quarterback, because the bust rate, in the draft is like probably 70%. So if you've got, like Kirk Cousins, who's been fantastic through his whole career, Washington, obviously Minnesota, Atlanta. I don't understand why you wouldn't take Brock Bowers. Obviously, they've got a top 4 tight end, or top 4 pick at tight end, but take a weapon. I mean, there's a lot of weapons that were available at that point, and they took another quarterback, which again, is kind of like when I used to complain about what Green Bay did with Aaron Rodgers. I'm like, dude, you have Aaron Rodgers. You don't need to take a Jordan Love in the first round. You can take T. Higgins, but just my opinion. I think that when you're in the league and a quarterback is the meta, and it's the thing that's the most important part of your entire, not just your offense, your organization. Like when you get a guy who's proven that he could do it in the National Football League, I think you just pay through the nose and get that guy. Again, that's why like a guy like CJ Stroud will make $600 million on his next extension. I mean, in 5 years, CJ is going to be up for a new deal, and Mahomes made 500. CJ will probably make 600 to 700 just because he's 21 years old right now, and he's got he's got Steph Diggs, and he's the favorite to win the most valuable player award this year, when he's only in year 2, and he got drafted by basically the second worst organization in the National Football League. So, quarterback it's interesting, and you see how desperate teams are for quarterbacks when you see Bo Nix going top half of the first round, Michael Penix, obviously JJ McCarthy went right after Penix at 10 or 11. It's a crapshoot, and you see a lot of these guys, they flake out. They Zach Wilson just got dealt for nothing. Justin Fields, who I love Justin Fields, but he got dealt for nothing. He sold for a 6th round pick, which is a journeyman offensive lineman type guy. So with a quarterback, it is the meta. You see these guys going after him, and that's why Nevada,
Kirk, let me just ask you a question about that though. Like, I mean, and I really am sincere, and I want to hear your answer to this. Like, do you believe that an NFL team couldn't win with Justin Fields with competent talent around him? Like, if he had a good offensive line or a good scheme or a good coach or whatever. I mean, do you believe teams can win with Justin Fields, or do you believe that somehow he's fundamentally flawed?
I think if Justin Fields played with this year's Chicago Bears, they'd have gone to the playoffs, and they probably could have won that division. Like if you give Justin Fields, because they weren't bad last year with DJ Moore, but now all of a sudden they have DeAndre Swift and they have Keenan Allen. And instead of burning the number one pick on Caleb Williams, you use it on Marvin Harrison or whoever, and then your 9 pick is Rome Oduzia, who's the number 2 or 3 receiver in the draft. Like, I don't know how they don't go to the playoffs with that lineup. Again, I think that it was if you put Marvin at 1 and then at 9 you take another offensive lineman, you take another defensive player. Like, I think Justin is easily a top 30 quarterback in the NFL. I think he should be starting somewhere. I think that the Steelers, a big reason why the Steelers are the Steelers is because they do these trades, and you'll look back at them in 3, 4, 5 years where you'll be like, how on earth did they get Jerome Bettis for a 2 and a 5? How on earth did they get Justin Fields for a 6? And then Justin will beat out Russell Wilson after like 2 games this year. I'm sure they'll have Russell start, and he's won the Super Bowl, and he's a French Hall of Famer. But then Justin will get out there, and he'll make it rain. He'll do his thing, and also Justin will be the guy, and they'll be like, oh my God, like this is our guy, this is our franchise. They declined the option for $25 million, which is great. It's fine. And then all of a sudden they're going to be like, well, let's renegotiate. And again, like the Bears screwed Justin. The Steelers kind of lightly screwed Justin because, he had a 5th-year option at $25 million. But, if for some reason the Steelers stashed Justin as a backup for the season, or he starts like 6 out of the 17 games, like, what's his real value? Because again, do you want to sign Justin to a long-term deal? I think Justin's going to be pigeonholed to signing a 1-year deal next year because, he's going to want to prove that he can be like that big-time quarterback and get real like crazy NFL money. Because again, when you see Mahomes making 50 a year, you see Burrow making 50 a year, like Justin Fields is kind of on that plane, but the Bears gave up on him. And again, I think a lot of it has to do not as much with Justin as much as it does the way the salary cap structured, the way the rookie deals are structured. Like, do you want to give Justin if you're Ryan Poles, who I played with in Chicago, is a 5, do you want to give him a 5 or 6 year deal worth $20 to $25 or $30 million a year? Or do you want to take Caleb Williams and have him at the rookie cap where he's making $15 million a year? Because again, I know that's still a lot of money, obviously very cognizant of that, but if you're making 15 a year as a rookie, that's way different than making 25. You have 10 million more in the cap space to pay Keenan Allen or pay some of these guys. So I think Ryan Poles wanted to reset. They wanted to get excited. It wasn't some accident that all of a sudden they dropped this new $5 billion stadium plan, indoor stadium, right? Next to Soldier Field, bulldoze everything, make it it's like, oh, we'll make it a very, we'll make it a big park and make it indoor shopping and all this, and we'll have an indoor arena, and we want the taxpayers to pay for $2 billion of it out of the $5 billion. Like, okay, sure. Like, so you guys can go host the Big Ten championship, make a fortune on it. But I feel bad for Justin Fields because I feel like he was caught up as a victim of circumstance because he's an incredible player. But he's in an organization that frankly didn't value him, and they didn't value extending him. And I think that the other happenstance part is that the fact that Caleb Williams is available, who a lot of these gurus cast him as a generational type guy, like an Andrew Luck type guy. He's there. So, if you can, jettison Justin and take Caleb Williams, you've got basically a reset on the contract. You have a 5-year deal with Caleb Williams. It's a 4-year guaranteed, and then you've got that 5th year as an option where it'll probably be $30 million. But again, $30 million is a ton of money, trust me. But in the NFL terms, for a starting quarterback who could be, a couple-time Pro Bowler by then, that's dirt cheap. So I think Ryan Poles, again, who I played with in Chicago, I know he's a smart guy. He saw that, hey, we got to refresh everything and do that, and that's kind of what went down.
Let me offer the counter to that, though. The counter to that is if you trade that pick down, if you keep Justin Fields and you trade down from the first spot and you get 3 first round or whatever, you get a ton of draft capital for that, and you're able to go out and get Marvin Harrison, Joe Alt, Roman Aduza. I mean, you could have gotten just a king's ransom of all guys that are on their rookie contracts. So while you're paying Justin Fields a little bit more on his second deal, not a ton more, but he didn't exactly have a lot of market for him. You could have, with the other guys, you're augmenting that, and I would suggest that your salary cap situation, you're probably in better shape and with a way more talented team. And I look around the league and I'm like, Atlanta's got Kirk Cousins, free agency. The Tampa Bay with the much maligned Baker Mayfield. And nobody's killed Baker Mayfield more than I have, but they got him off the heap. They got him for nothing, and they're fine with Baker Mayfield. So the idea that you have to reach with this first round pick and have to go out and take a quarterback, no matter how risky, how injury prone, how limited they may be athletically, any of those things. I don't know. I think it's craziness, and I just think that NFL GMs, like people always want to say, well, they're the best and the brightest, but man, like you said, the hit rate is only probably 70, or the miss rate is probably 70%. So they're missing a lot more than they're hitting, and that's despite having all the information and talent and money to try to kind of evaluate these guys. Man, I would just never do it. I think having to get a guy like Justin Fields, and I don't like the Steelers, but I respect the Steelers, and that is such a Steelers pickup where they go out and get Justin Fields for a song, and he's going to turn out to be a really good quarterback for them. I have no doubt about that.
Well, I mean, the Steelers are the best organization in football, in my opinion. They go out and get
no doubt.
Russell Wilson, who stinks. They get him off the heap, cut. They get him on a 1-year deal. Then they get Justin Fields, who's also on a 1-year deal. Both motivated quarterbacks. They declined his option. So, I mean, they're on the hook for Justin Fields for like the two quarterbacks combined. I think are making less than $5 million this year, which is insane when you talk about Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, especially Justin Fields. But those guys will be hungry. They'll be nasty. They'll be dirty. I mean, Justin's the guy who's a tough guy. He's he's been he'll be severely motivated again by what Chicago did to him. Because again, it's like C.J. Stroud, who is one of the greatest players in Ohio State history. He literally said, "Why couldn't they do this for Justin last year? Why couldn't they get him Keenan Allen? Why couldn't they get him the O-line help, DeAndre Swift, defensive help?" But I don't know. It's hard because like I'm not married to what NFL teams do. I've met a lot of NFL guys. Like I knew Howie Roseman for a long time. He's picking right now with the Eagles. He was a regional scout for the Eagles. I have his number saved in my phone. He's now the GM. People think he might be the best GM in the entire NFL. But like I've met these guys. The Eagles is like Cooper DeJean, so the first white cornerback since Jason Sehorn is now in the building. But I just a lot of these guys they're nerds, they're dorks, and they're scared of what their peers say, what the owners say. A lot of the owners are like fruit flies. They're very easily influenced by everything that everyone else says. So again, I think that with Caleb Williams, I'm sure that Ryan Poles, who again I played with, had a lot of thought process where it's like, well, I don't want to be the guy who's who passes on Caleb Williams when he's viewed as a generational guy. He's viewed as a Mahomes type guy. So we're gonna trade Justin, and then I'm also gonna soup it up, and I'm gonna trade for Keenan Allen because the Bears had a ton of cap space, so they can go get Keenan Allen for a 5th round pick, and Keenan's making $20 million this year, and they've got all the space to fit him. So I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. Like I love watching round 2 and 3 to see if Cade and Mike Hall go. Nevada, part of our title was Will Howard. Could he slip into the 1st or 2nd round next year? Again, me and you offline talked about Bo Nix. Bo Nix was obviously a guy that he had a very strange career. He was obviously benefited from COVID. He's over 24 years old, so he's probably the oldest NFL rookie this year. But he was an Auburn kid, grew up going to Auburn, family went to Auburn. He's one of those where it's like mom and daddy, mama, daddy, we both met at Auburn. We had little Bo wore his little War Eagle jersey and his little tiger head every day, wore to kindergarten, wore to 5th grade, wore to senior prom, dreamed of being an Auburn Tiger. They offered him, he went there, was okay. Started as a freshman, beat Saban as a freshman, which is incredible. But then, the plane kind of hit the mountain, and all of a sudden he hit the portal, went to Oregon. Oregon obviously was a school that had a great offense, great scheme, played in a weak conference. He shredded it. He was a Heisman finalist. If Bo Nix can do that going to Oregon, do you think that Will Howard could do that at Ohio State with the talent that he's going to have?
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt about it. I mean, if you look at the numbers that Bo Nix and also, well, look, there's a couple of narratives that have been going on. The narrative that Will Howard was benched at Kansas State, which is, I mean, the, people say that without any context regarding his injury status, what they were trying to do with the backup quarterback, the other backup quarterback's running ability, the fact that Will Howard finished the season the last 7 games where the other guy didn't even take a snap. But I mean, when you talk about a guy that got benched, I mean, Bo Nix literally got run out of Auburn because he was so bad. I mean, his completion percentage, his touchdown to interception ratio, none of that was even close to being where Will Howard's at. And Bo Nix ended up being taken 12th in the first round of the NFL draft. So, do I believe that Will Howard could be a first round pick next year? Absolutely. I mean, we talked earlier in the thing about who are the quarterbacks that he's been going up against. Quinn, Dylan Gabriel, Jaden Milrow, Dart, Carson Beck. I mean, if six guys, if you're talking about the top 5 or top 6 quarterbacks go in the first round of the NFL draft automatically because it's such a coveted position, is Will Howard one of those guys? I think he is. I think he's a guy that, frankly, at plus 1,600 is a pretty chalky bet, as far, in my opinion, to win the Heisman Trophy, because the Heisman Trophy is a quarterback-centric award that generally goes to the quarterback on the best team in the country. And Ohio State, in my opinion, is going to be the best team in the country. There's other teams that will be close. I mean, Texas is going to be there. Oregon's going to be there. Georgia's going to be there. But I just think this is a special Ohio State team. When you look at the metrics for Ohio State, you look at their defensive metrics. Last year was one of the best defenses in school history. This year promises to be even markedly better. And I think the offense is going to be exponentially better under Chip Kelly and with all the returning starters they have, returning skill players, and a plus quarterback in Will Howard. So, yeah, I think Will Howard will be a Heisman finalist next year. I think he'll be a first-round draft pick. And, at plus 1,600, I think that's attractive to put down some money on him to win the whole Heisman, because I think he's that good, and I think he'll thrive that much in the Ohio State system.
Well, the funny thing is, like, you say all that, and I know that you mean it, and you put your money in your mouth, but like, Jaden Daniels just won the Heisman in preseason. Mel Kiper was saying, he probably a 4th-round pick, probably like a Joe Burrow type of explosion, where he went from being, again, Joe Burrow's own dad, who is a football guy. He's a lifer. He's at Ohio University. He was a position coach at Ohio University. So it's not like he's out of the realm. It's not like he doesn't know scouts. It's not like he doesn't know agents. It's not like he doesn't know general managers. Joe Burrow's dad was hoping going into his senior year that Joe would be, in 19, he could get maybe a job as a free agent quarterback, play the 4th quarter of the preseason games, try to make a team, try to make a practice squad, try to make a roster, whatever. That's what their thought was going into their senior year. Now, obviously, Joe, I joke every time you guys see me when I talk about Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, who I love to death. I think he's fantastic. I love everything he does for Ohio. I love everything he does for the Plains. I love everything he did for LSU. Everything he did for Ohio State. Like, he took the limitless pill. And all of a sudden, he became the greatest quarterback in the history of college football for 1 year, with Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson and Thaddeus Moss and that offensive line and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So, could something crazy happen? Sure. Like, if Will Howard gets into the right situation, could it be amazing? Sure. Nevada, if you were scanning, whatever betting app you used or whatever, Circa, Cosmopolitan, and you're looking at the Heisman odds from last year, like, would you have put a penny on Jaden Daniels? Probably not. Jaden Daniels is the guy, again, Mel Kiper said yes, he's projected as a fourth rounder coming in the year. So you're probably not laying a lot of money on a guy who's projected as a fourth rounder at LSU. LSU obviously didn't have a great year. Brian Kelly's first year. Second year, obviously, the battery of Jaden, along with their two star receivers who both went first round, turned a lot of lives around. But, I think that Will Howard's the kind of guy that, with Ryan Day, and again, I know people say, well, he's inaccurate, he sucks, he's terrible, he's going to get benched, because some guy from Rivals' website that nobody reads said that he's going to get benched. But, like with Will Howard, like, he's never had a Mecca. He's never had JJ's. He's never had Carnell Tate. He's never had Ryan Day, Chip Kelly, Trey Henderson, Quinshon Judkins. So, like, it's one thing to say, oh, well, he stinks, whatever, but, like, now he's playing with, like, real players. And again, I think it's like, I always go back to Tom Brady. Like, Tom Brady, like, what New England did to Tom Brady the last 4 years of his career was as egregiously bad as I've ever seen. And Bill Belichick's the guy that I love. He was a Browns coach. Obviously genius, but they were always so far ahead of the curve in terms of getting rid of good players and not paying guys that were productive. So Tom Brady had to throw to like scrap heaps. Like Jacoby Myers as a freshman, or excuse me, as a rookie. And then he goes to Tampa, which again, this is kind of like Will Howard going to Ohio State. When Tom Brady went to Tampa, all of a sudden he had, Mike Evans, who's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He had Chris Godwin. They traded for Antonio Brown before he went nuts, and when AB was still actually a dude. Cameron Brate, Gronk. They went out and signed Leonard Fournette, who was a cancer and got cut by the Jags. And, with Tom Brady, he could get all those guys in line and get them to play. So I think that, that's kind of going to be like Will Howard, where all of a sudden he's going to have like realistic first, second round type dudes across the board on his in his battery of guys that he's throwing the ball to. And I think that changes everything. Again, I don't know what kind of money I could have got on Nevada last year to bet you if Bo Nix would go in the top 15. But it would have had to have been good.
I mean, Bo Nix completed 56% of his passes at Auburn. And then he goes to Oregon and completes 77% of his passes. So, don't tell me that who you play with, what kind of a system. He didn't just all of a sudden become magically good. So he was put in the right spot, the right place with the right type of system. Will Howard is going to have the similar type of trajectory. I mean, he is throwing to guys on a Kansas State team that wouldn't even make there's not a player on Kansas State that would be in the two deep at Ohio State. Not one. And now he's going to Quinshon and Trey and JJ and Emeka. And I mean, his numbers are going to go crazy. And Chip Kelly is going to give him easy throws. It's going to be easy pitch and catch. He's going to have a monster year. Vegas is kind of wised up because, like I said, they've got him as the sixth betting favorite there. But Jaden Daniel, I wouldn't have put a penny on Jaden Daniel last year to win the Heisman. It just goes to show you guys always come from nowhere. But I'm calling it right now. Will Howard is going to have a monster increase in both productivity, completion percentage, TD to interception ratio, and his running is always going to be his running. But he's going to have a monster year for Ohio State in 2024. And I'm liking him at plus 1,600 for the Heisman. I'm just telling you, that's 16-1. I like those odds.
Yeah, I mean, if they get through, even if they don't get through Oregon, if they get through Oregon the second time, they lose one game in that offense, as crazy as it is, it'll be great. I mean, again, I think that he's the guy. Obviously, between what Ryan believes, what Ohio State paid, he's our starting quarterback. And again, there's some people that don't believe that. They don't want that. They think there's a competition, but money talks, the BS walks. So again, that's why you guys pay attention to the scoop, because I think that he's going to be dynamite. I think that he's a big, tall, angular quarterback, a guy that can run. He's not scared. He's got great charisma. He's a guy that is a natural leader. And again, as much as I love Devin Brown, and Devin is a great kid, you guys have to understand, Will started 45 games in his career. Devin has started one, and he didn't finish it. So again, you have to put that in account. When you're Ryan Day and your life is on the line and everything is on the line, it's I don't know. I'm taking a guy like Will Howard. Again, Ryan could have had he could have kept Kyle McCord, paid him a bunch of money. He could have had Cam Ward, paid him a bunch of money. He picked Will Howard. So, and again, I'll never forget in December when I got crucified by everybody because I said, Will Howard's coming here. And then all of a sudden, like all these crystal balls came in for the University of Southern California, which again, they had the other guru quarterback developer in Lincoln Riley who just developed Caleb Williams. And, there were all these crystal balls and RPMs and all this other stuff coming saying, this guy's going to SC. You're dumb. You have no idea what you're talking about. I was like, well, I think I've got good information because this wasn't like something where I was going around saying, ooh, let me throw something against the wall and see if Will Howard's coming to Ohio State. Like I had good info. And then all of a sudden the SC stuff falls by the wayside. He comes to Ohio State. And I was like, ooh, looks like I did have good information. So I'm excited for Will Howard. Again, 45 starts or whatever he's got is way different from one start. And I think in a year like this, if you're Ryan, you have to put the pedal to the metal. You have to get the best 11 on offense, best 11 on defense out there, and just do your thing. So again, I'm very excited about Will Howard. And again, in the National Football League, these GMs are so obsessed with finding a quarterback that they take guys like Zach Wilson 2 overall. They take Trey Lance, who played one game at 3 overall. It's crazy. And if Trey Lance can go 3 overall, Zach Wilson can go 2 overall. Like, why not go after a guy like Will Howard, who's he's a Josh Allen clone, in my opinion. He's big, tall, he's angular, he's got a lot of upside. And in a league where your offensive line can be decimated, you can be starting a practice squad tackle, and your guy needs to be able to absorb a hit. Like I want big, giant quarterbacks, like Roethlisberger, like some of these guys, because you get hit by Myles Garrett. If you're like Baker Mayfield or some of these pipsqueaks, man, you're going to be in the infirmary. You're going to be getting your kidneys X-rayed, and that's it's not a spot you want to be as a franchise quarterback. So I think he's got a lot of upside. People say he's inaccurate, but Josh Allen wasn't accurate either until he had good players to kind of shepherd him along. So again, I think that that's a very sound bet. I think whoever plays quarterback for Ohio State this year will be very potent, just based on the type of talent that's going to be around them. The Raiders just went. They took the center from Oregon, which is great. They did not take right tackle. Shout out my boy Thayer. I want Thayer to be the starting right tackle this year. My boy Thayer Munford. Nevada, as we're rolling through this draft, are there any picks that stood out to you in terms of what you liked versus what you didn't like?
Well, I mean, I thought that the Cardinals did themselves right getting Marvin Harrison, with the fourth pick. I disagree. I am not as big on McConkey as you are. I mean, I think McConkey's fine, but I don't know. I mean, maybe he will. Maybe he'll turn out to be the greatest fighter, but I just never got it. I kind of watched him and was kind of underwhelmed. But that's what makes the draft great, is that people can have different opinions. I thought the Packers did a nice job in the first round, and I know they're coming up here in the second round, and they just took they took the linebacker out of Texas A&M. Excellent pick, Edgerrin Cooper. That's the number one linebacker in the draft, and that's who they needed. They needed a linebacker in the worst way. And that's a good draft pick right there.
So you're not a McConkey guy.
I am not a McConkey guy. No.
See, I think he's going to be in that offense. I think he's going to be excellent. I really do. And again, I know his dad played for Parcells and the Giants, and I know the whole story about his dad. But I look at the metrics. I look at who his coach is with Jim Harbaugh, who's a nut job. And I also look at that room. I mean, they jettisoned Keenan Allen. They jettisoned Mike Williams. Like, they've got a rookie last year who stunk. And then they've got Ladd McConkey right behind him. And I was like, well, I don't know. Like again, I think that Ladd McConkey is, I think it's going to be good. And again, I don't like Georgia. But I think I think it'll be good because of who his quarterback is. I think Justin Herbert is probably maybe the third best quarterback in the NFL right now. I mean, obviously Mahomes is one. There's no argument there. Is Burrow two? Um, Lamar Jackson two? I don't know, but like Justin Herbert is probably three or four at the worst. So when you've got a guy like that, and then they get rid of the top two receivers that he has, like somebody's gonna catch the footballs from him, and your boy Jim Harbaugh, who's the weirdest human being on earth, like, he's not taking a guy in the second round to sit there and play Parcheesi. He's taking that guy so he can be a dominating force. And again, I'll be happy to be wrong. You can look back in 6 months and say, Kirk, I took Vlad McConkey with the first overall pick in my fantasy draft, and you're an idiot. I'll say, totally
Yeah,
agree
I
with
don't know.
you.
I trust your opinion more than mine, but I didn't like. I thought
Well,
the Chiefs pick of that burner was such a Chiefs pick. That was yeah. You just I love that pick as well. I think there's a horse for every course, and I thought that was a great pick.
well, I think the hard part about Worthy is like I've got really good ties that know Worthy really well, and they think that high chance of a bust. Just because, I mean, obviously, like if you run that fast and you're the fastest guy in the history of the combine, how do you wait that long? I mean, how are you that late in the first round if you're that fast and you're that productive? And I mean, people I talked to say he was like the third best receiver on the team last year when they had
Yeah,
the tight
but
end
I
was.
mean that's kind of the same thing they're saying about Tyreek Hill and McCole Cardman, and that's how those guys ended up there. And in that offense, man, those guys just flourished. But I hear you, But that just seemed like that's like a Kansas City pick. They get out Mahomes and they go get him another weapon, the fastest guy in the draft, and he'll turn him into something. I mean, look, he turned Marquez Valdez-Scantling into a decent wide receiver this year too. So
Did they did
I
they
I like.
did they cut him?
Yeah, I don't know if they did or not. That's a good question.
I felt like they might have because he was very, very expensive. And I
He
was like,
was
well, that's
expensive.
a. I mean, it's like when you resign a free agent, it's like
Yeah.
Marquez Valdez Scantling. He is he still chief or is he a free agent?
I don't remember him getting cut, but he
No,
might have.
no, he's a free agent. He got cut.
Okay.
So,
Well,
but hey,
well,
he won the Super Bowl,
there.
baby.
I was going to say, there's his replacement right there. That's the guy that they just
Yeah,
drafted. But
I mean he obviously won a Super Bowl. He did his thing, but they cut him just because it was like we can't afford to pay you 15 million or whatever when we could have
right,
Nevada and Kirk out there running routes and get the same amount of production as we do with you. You know,
exactly.
um, but yeah, that'll be interesting because again, I always look at like dynasty leagues and fantasy leagues, but yeah. So the first running backs just went Jonathan Brooks from
Texas.
Texas. And it's funny, the guy who's great on the draft coverage is Saban. He's on ESPN right now, and he's talking about Jonathan Brooks, and I'm glad Nick Saban's on it. We got a nice little stretch here because we got the Bengals at 49, we got the Steelers at 51, we got the Browns at 54. But yeah, I think that in terms of Ohio State, obviously Cade Stover, Nevada. I don't want to do a money thing with you, but between Cade and Mike Hall, who do you think is the next Buckeye off the board during the draft?
Mike Hall for sure. I'd bet money on that. Mike Hall.
Is there a bet for that?
Not probably not. But Mike Hall's going to be a good NFL player. I'm telling you, he's going to be a good NFL player. I think he's a sleeper in the draft, and then I know I feel that way because of having watched him at Ohio State. But I just think he's really good, really productive, and I think in the right NFL system, I think he'll be dynamite.
Totally agree. All right, let's go to the super chats. Mike Green there for the 10. Kirk, Zach Smith is my boy. I'm a part of the Menace Army, but Malik Neighbors over Marvin Harrison is blasphemous. Neighbors is a slot with 12 touchdowns inside, 2 touchdowns outside, free releases. Marvin 20 plus versus press and double team. Bro be smoking. Nevada, you bet with your wallet, which is the best way to bet. You said Marvin would be the receiver number 1, which he was. You cashed your ticket. Is Zach Smith saying that Malik Neighbors is better than Marvin blasphemous? And how close is that race?
Well, look, you have to remember Zach, and we like Zach. I won't speak for Kirk. I know Kirk likes Zach. I like Zach. We like Zach. We admire what he's done. Um, he is a little clickbaity sometimes. I think he throws out these provocative takes to try to fire some people up. So I don't know if he really believes that because I mean, Marvin, you just when you're drafting guys, and I've talked a lot to people that are close to NFL draft, to NFL GMs, to agents, to people in the media, and they talk about always with players, you're always projecting them. What is their ceiling and what is their floor? And the question you have to ask yourself is, what's the floor for Marvin Harrison Jr.? You're talking about a guy that's been, his dad was an NFL Hall of Famer. He's got size. He's injury free. He can play inside. He can play outside. He can catch everything. He's a great citizen. I mean, his floor, like short of catastrophic injury, which that could go for every player, but his floor as a player is really good, productive NFL starter, and his ceiling's what, NFL Hall of Famer. You know what I'm saying? Like better than his dad. So I don't know. I just think that Marvin is one of those sure easy. Those are the kind of bets that I want to make in the first round. If I'm an NFL GM and I'm making picks for my team, those are the guys I want to pick. I'll let the other teams make the mistakes. I'm going to pick guys that I know are going to be productive NFL players that are can't miss. And Marvin Harrison is can't miss in my opinion. And I can't say that I feel the same way about any other wide receiver in the draft.
I mean, I think the thing about Marvin is like, this isn't new hat to him. It's not new hat to his family. He's not new money. His dad obviously is one of the greatest players of all time, probably a top 10 wide receiver of all time. His dad is his biggest critic. His dad is also, I think, kind of a proponent, because obviously his dad's got big opinions on how his son should be used and what's the correct number of targets he should get, whatever. But I'd take that over a dad that's just a straight treats his kid like a lottery ticket. Again, I've been around dads that are like agents, and I've been around dads where it's like I got them talking to him for an hour, and it's like I felt like I had to take a shower because I felt like I was surrounded by slime. So Marvin Sr. is not that guy, and Marvin Sr. is a guy that he doesn't need anything from his son. His son is not a lottery ticket, but his son's going to be a monster. And again, he went to Arizona, which is a good spot because nobody cares about Arizona football. He's got a number one overall pick at quarterback with Kyler, who went one overall. He's got Paris at left tackle. He's in a decent division. I mean, that division's tough with San Francisco. The Rams are retooling. Seattle is usually tough on defense. But, I think that when you're in a market that doesn't care about football at all, like Arizona, I don't think it hurts as opposed to going to New York or Chicago or Cleveland or somewhere where people are obsessive compulsive about what you do on the football field. So I think Marvin's in a great spot. We'll see if the quarterback can hold up. They paid him a fortune. Obviously they extended him, but Marvin's the number one there easily. And I think he'll flourish. I think he'll do good things. I think, with Rome Neighbors going to New York, I think when you have Daniel Jones and you're in that New York media, it's going to be a cluster. I think it's going to be a disaster, and he's going to end up being a bust. He's a guy that runs fast and he does a lot of great things, but I think Marvin can do much better things in Arizona than Rome Neighbors will do with the Giants. WV Buckeye, thank you for the 10. Appreciate you, man. Guys, Will Howard carved up some good teams with 1- and 2-star players in the coaching staff, which was not close to Ohio State. Let's don't worry about Howard. I mean, again, when people have this anxiety about Will Howard, I say, look, watch them play Missouri at Missouri, and then go watch us play Missouri. I mean, Missouri had a first-round DN yesterday. Missouri had really good players on defense. Go watch Will Howard versus Missouri. And again, he had to play at Missouri, not at Kansas State, and he did fantastic. I mean, he was a monster. And, if we had him in the Cotton Bowl, we'd probably win the game. Obviously, we had a disastrous deal where Devin got hurt, and we had Lincoln out there, and we had Matt Jones at center. But, when you watch Will Howard versus Missouri, again, that's the only game I want you to watch. Go get on your YouTube as soon as the show's over. Type in Missouri versus Kansas State 2023. and watch Will Howard. And again, I thought he was tremendous, and he was a difference maker, and he was. I love the games where he's outgunned. He was outgunned in that game. Missouri had much better players than Kansas State did. SEC school obviously beat Ohio State in the bowl game, and Will Howard kept him in it and almost won it. So, that's what I look at again because I like to look at common opponents. I don't watch Will Howard play, the Sisters of the Poor or the Convent or whatever. Like, show me someone that Ohio State played. Missouri, common opponent. Will Howard was dominant. Our quarterback situation was terrible. Nevada, your thoughts? W. Buckeye says for the 10. Appreciate you, my man. Guys, Will Howard carved up some good teams with 1- and 2-star players and a coaching staff which is not close to Ohio State. Let's not worry about Will Howard. Your thoughts on that?
I agree. I totally agree. I think I look at what he did against Missouri. I look at what he did against Texas. And people want to look at his worst performances, but look at his best performance. His best performances show what he's capable of. And you have to ask yourself, is he going to be able to rise up and play better in a system with players that are exponentially better than anybody that he's played with before in his life at any point, and the greatest offensive mindset in the history of college football? Because Ryan Day and Chip Kelly together is the dream team. Nobody's ever seen anything. We've never seen anything like it at Ohio State. I guarantee you. I can't think of anything like it ever at college football. To have the best passing game guy and the best running game guy both on the same staff. So I think Will's going to flourish. I think he's going to have a big year. I completely agree with Poster. I don't have any concerns, and I think there's huge upside in Will, and I think people are going to be on the bandwagon soon. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Totally agree. I think it's going to be awesome. D. Sunny, thank you for the 5. If you could have an NFL team building formula, what would it be? It seems like Jeff DeGoodle lineman will always keep you off the breadline. You're going to laugh. I think Harbaugh's formula is really good. I think what he's doing in San Diego, he jettisoned his expensive receivers. He drafted Joe Alt to go with Rashawn Slater. So he's got 2 Pro Bowl type tackles. He's got a Pro Bowl quarterback. They let Austin Eckler go because he shouldn't pay a running back a second deal. They sent J.K. Dobbins off the breadline. Gus Edwards. I think keep what Harbaugh's on. I mean, he kept Khalil Mack, kept Joey Bosa. He's got my formula. I mean, build that O-line, young quarterback. He probably wishes that Herbert was a rookie instead of in his second deal, but Justin Herbert's a top 3 quarterback in the league. I mean, I'd copy exactly what Harbaugh's doing because between the cap and what he's doing with the skill positions and the defense, I think they're going to be really competitive. Nevada, D. Sunny asks, if you could have an NFL team building formula, what would it be? It seems like Jeff DeGoodle lineman will always keep you off the breadline. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I have to agree with you on Harbaugh. I've always thought Harbaugh weird guy, capable of doing anything to win, capable of cheating, and going to great underhanded lengths to achieve success. But he's been successful. He's been successful doing it his way, having his system, staying true to it at Stanford with the 49ers and at Michigan. So no, I have a lot of respect for that. But my formula would be don't overdraft a quarterback. I would be the ultimate team in terms of trading down in the draft. I think more picks, given the high miss rate in the draft, the more picks you can have in a draft, the better off. So unless there's just some generational talent, I would always be trading down, gathering more picks, gathering more draft capital, and building through the lines. And I think you can find a capable placeholder quarterback in free agency. You can get somebody off the breadline to be your running backs, and that would be my formula. And I think it'd be a successful one.
Totally agree. Larry Daniels, 6%, Ultra for 5. I'm pie in the sky, dreaming Nevada, but maybe consider a massive Vegas destination meetup someday. I don't know if Vegas can handle the scoop, but it's funny because we were talking about Circa yesterday. Obviously, we love the Wynn, Cosmopolitan, What Republic, MGM properties. That would be tough just because it's hard to get people to come to Ohio, let alone Vegas. For your thoughts, Nevada, a massive Vegas destination meetup someday. That'd be tough. I mean, it's hard to get people to Columbus for the spring game, let alone Vegas on a random day. But what are your thoughts?
I look. I mean, when the Big Ten championship game permanently moves to Las Vegas, as it should, that that certainly could be something that's in the card, or when Ohio State's out there for whatever reason. But I love Vegas. I think Vegas is the best destination in the world for everything. Big time events. It's one of the few cities that can absolutely handle it. They can handle logistically with the hotels, with the cabs, with the restaurants, with the other entertainment, um, with flights, cheap flights from everywhere. So no, I'd be down. And but yeah, people better be ready and buckle up, because if the scoop hits Vegas, man, town may never be the same again.
It'd be a good time. It'd be very interesting. But if we did it, it would be I think it'd be fire. Again, and we'd have to get a good partner like Circa. It sounds like it'd be a great partnership just because of what they do with Stadium Swim. Seems like a optimal spot to meet. But I think it'd be a good time. I love Vegas. It's funny. Everyone wants to go to Vegas. In the chat, it is like it's crazy. Everybody's like, "Let's go to Vegas," and Sarah, Andy, Joe, they're all ready to go to Vegas, so it'll be crazy. Michigan had two straight players go in the draft just now. They had Mike Stanistel. They also had Chris Jenkins, who I think is a really good player, go to the Bengals. So, yeah, Sarah, it would be very massive in Vegas. It'd probably be crazy, but it'd be a good time. Nevada, we are a few picks out from the Browns. The Steelers are up right now. Um, you think Mike Hall goes second round or third round tonight?
I think he's going to go second round. I do. I think he'll go second round. I think he's going to be one of these picks coming up here in the next thing. I know people, a lot of people really, especially with Jenkins off the board. I think he's the next defensive lineman taken. So anybody who's in need of defensive lineman, I think it's going to be calling Michael Hall's name.
It's funny because like he seems like a Steelers kind of pick. Yeah, because like
Oh
he's
yeah.
the kind of guy that the Steelers will they'll grab and make him a 3-4 end, and he'll have 27 sacks against the Browns over the next 10 years of his career, and he'll be in like the Steeler Hall of Fame. That's just like it just seems like that's the kind of guy he is. Like the Steelers, they took Cam Hayward. They love taking Ohio State guys. More the Bengals love taking Michigan guys. The Browns don't take anybody from the Big Ten, but it's always kind of funny when you see what's going on. It's so funny. This is funny. So Andy Joe Taylor, who obviously sang our national anthem, is great. She said, "I told Kirk you haven't lived until you've done Vegas with Tommy T, which is her father, Tommy Taylor." Well, I've been with Nevada B, and now again, you have to understand. Here's the thing: the one thing I'll tell you about Nevadabuck is he didn't get a bunch of dice and figure out, well, my new screen name on my message board is gonna be Nevadabuck. It's because he lived in Vegas for a long time, and he knows a lot of people in Vegas, and he knows how to he knows his way around. Like he's Nevada and Vegas is like Jaws in the ocean, basically. So it's always funny when people are like, well, you haven't lived until you've done it all the time. So I was like, well, if I can survive Nevada, I mean, it's like, I mean, it is not for the faint of heart. And thankfully, I don't have a heart, so there's nothing faint about me or my heart. But with Nevada, is a good time. Like, I mean, I'm telling you, it's high end, and it's don't leave me, don't leave me, Joe. It's a don't leave me, Joe Francis kind of thing, So when it's out there, it's a good time, but friends stick together. It's like we're like sketch. Special teams, special players, special nights in Vegas. That's what we are. So, well, Nevada, I think we can wrap this thing up. Again, I appreciate all you guys. The draft is going on. Everybody wants to see Nevada and Vegas. The funny thing about Nevada is literally he's the living embodiment of Kaiser Sose, where you don't see him, you don't know if he actually exists. he might just be an AI bot, even though I know he's not an AI bot. But everyone's like, we could have Nevada there. It's like, ooh, I don't know. We'll see. I was like, yeah, it's a good time. And then Kim's reminding me, Kirk and I got married in Vegas. Yes, we did. And I did invite Nevada, and he did go full Kaiser, so say not show up to my
No, no,
wedding,
no,
which is
no, no,
fine.
no, no. Hold on, not showing
No,
up
no,
is
no, no, no,
no,
no,
no, no, not showing up. Like I said, I would, and I didn't show up. I told you I wasn't going to show up. I'm like, no,
Well,
I'm
I
not.
knew.
Thank
Well,
you
you
for the
didn't
invitation.
show up. I mean, I had 25
Yeah,
invites, and
no,
you and
no, no. I said I will not be attending, but I appreciate the invitation very much. So
I should
thank
have
you.
invited Funky. Funky would have been there.
Funky
You
would have been
know,
there for sure.
Funky
Funky
would have been there
Buck.
for sure. Funky is Nevada in AI form,
Yes,
AI
that is true.
mixer.
AI Funky.
And he's really good because instead of saying Sunny Styles, he says Sony Styles. So that's how he
Yeah, I
decodes
like
everything for you
that.
guys. He throws you guys off and says, "Oh, Sony Styles is going to be really good this year." I was like, "Oh,
I love
what is this?"
Sony.
And again, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of Funky for knowing what a Sony is because I don't even think Sony exists anymore. They don't make TVs. They don't
No,
make anything. But
no.
Sony Styles, I'm telling you. Happy 2014. Thank you for the 20 preacher man. Next year's draft, bring Michigan team back up to give the trophy back. Cheaters and shame. Shame. Like ring the bell like the chick, like the little convent chick. I think that's what you got to do. Nevada, should they bring Michigan's team back next year for the draft? To say should.
Well, like I said, they did it this year because it was in Detroit, so they're kind of pandering, and that made me want to vomit watching them up there in terms of doing it. But the only thing that makes me feel good, and I can say this with total confidence for you Ohio State fans, right? Their day is coming. Their day is coming, and it's not going to be good. And people say, "Oh, Nevada, I am just on. Just wait." And if you need something to kind of get you through from here to there, go back and read Tony Petitti's letter to me. Somebody posted it on the board today, and I even went back and I read it again today, and it's even worse than I thought. I mean, it's 8 pages long. It takes you 3, 5 minutes, depending on how quickly you read to read this thing. It's one of the most damning things that I've ever read a school get. Go read this. Go read the stuff. And there's even mentions of stuff that was revealed in interviews that they can't reveal this
Mm.
time due to confidentiality. That's even more ominous. So go back, read the Tony Petitti letter. Just know that the cheaters never prosper. They're going to get theirs in the end. And us having to watch that stupid Michigan cheating team up there, that's going to be a race. So they enjoy their day, but look, man, they live in Detroit, so life isn't that good anyway, man, because
No.
they live in Detroit.
I think the funniest thing about like cheaters is like eventually like the tab comes due and they usually have to do 2 for Tuesday or they have to do some sort of like they can't go full price anymore because they know that they've been wrong. They've been wronged. They've wronged their customers, and frankly, their offerings aren't really that great. So it's got to be 2 for Tuesday. It's got to be, some of them. It's like they're like Red Lobster. Like Red Lobster had to do like infinite shrimp for $10 or whatever, and it bankrupted the whole company because, again, they weren't getting anybody in the door, so they had to do infinite. They had to do the cheapest promotion possible because they couldn't stand on business. They couldn't stand on merit. So all of a sudden, they're up the creek and they got to do that, and they're about to go out of business. So that's something that's fascinating to me is when people want to do that because they think that it's the right way, the right course of business, but I don't think it is. Again, I like where we're at. I like what we do. I like your trajectory. Nevada, the Browns are 3 picks away. The Colts are up. Any final thoughts? Because I'll probably roll maybe the next 5, 6 minutes to see if the Browns get a pick in, see if the Colts take my call or the Browns take my call. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, I think we should
Uh,
stay on the air. Let's stay on the air through the Browns pick for
so the
sure.
Browns
Let's
pick.
do that.
Well, let's do
Yeah.
it because you know why? It's because Andy Joe
What?
wants her dad and me and you to go to Vegas, and I was like, I don't know if Thomas Taylor could hang. He'll send me 50 text messages and a bunch of Facebook messages because I said that. But I'm just saying, like, Vegas with the big dog and the medium dog, Nevada. It's a good time. Been through that war a few times and came out on the other side because all gave some and some gave all. Uh,
You're watching this draft right now. You see, I mean, like Michigan's lost a lot of talent. Texas has lost a lot of talent. I mean, like Ohio State having those 8 or 10 guys that returned this year. I mean, those would have been names that have been littered through the first 2 rounds, and we've been saying Ohio State player, Ohio State player. I mean, these other teams lost a lot. I mean, they lost a lot. I just think for look as a forward-looking person looking forward to the 2024 season, man, Ohio State's got a lot of returning talent. They've got so much returning talent. It's crazy. And these other teams took hits. I mean, Texas just lost another wide receiver in Adonai Mitchell. So, yeah, no, I like Ohio State's positioning for sure.
yeah, I agree. Sarah, who is Thomas's wife, says Thunder Buddies for life, Kirk. And I was like, I don't know what that means. I don't know if that's like Eskimo Brothers or what Thunder Buddies means, but
Dude, you didn't watch Ted?
no.
You didn't watch Ted? That's one of the great movies of all time.
What, like the little bear?
Yeah, that was so funny. They were Thunder Buddies.
What's a
Mark
Thunder
Wahlberg and
Buddy?
Ted. He was afraid of the thunder, so him and Ted would do like this Thunder Buddy song.
Really?
Yeah, Mark Wahlberg was great in that movie. That might have
But
been his greatest role
but
ever.
there's no rain or thunder in Vegas, except for when
There is there's a lot
except
of
for
thunder, man.
that tab shows up at Sapphire. There's a lot of thunder coming down. Ooh, boy.
man, those
Ooh,
Desert Storm,
ooh.
baby. Yeah, absolutely.
That is. It's like you better.
Uh,
I mean, you can have
no,
you can have that at Sapphire, or you
that's
can
why
have a new
that's
Apache helicopter, baby.
no, that's why you pay cash, man. Nobody runs a tab at Sapphire, dude, because you have no idea what you're gonna get at the end of the night, man. You got to pay cash as you go along.
See, look, Andy Joe says, "Tell him Nevada," and then Sarah says, "I knew Nevada would get it." I thought it was like some
Yes.
movie from the '60s, so Nevada would get it, and I wouldn't, but it's fine.
Yeah, no, you didn't know Ted, man.
I thought it was like from Citizen Kane or something.
Yeah, that was like contemporary, man. That's like what a modern
It's like the last
masterpiece.
10 years of Modern Recipes, Ted, like the Huckleberry.
Seth
Oh my
MacLachlan
god,
Seth MacLachlan was the one who did that.
this is the end. Is that was he who voiced the bear, Ted?
Yeah, yes, that he did.
See, I told you, Andy Joe, like she got it. She said, "Tell him about it." So it's obviously this is like the
Yeah.
family movie. Andy Joe graduated high school, and they said, "Hey, we're gonna play Ted in the background at the graduation party.
Oh,
Andy's gonna sing, and we're also gonna play Ted as it's going." Because
that's a
I
great
didn't know
movie.
that. I mean,
Yes.
I could probably get it. Was it probably $2.99 on Netflix right now, or is it probably free streaming? The
Yeah,
Taylor,
well, yeah, but
the Taylor, the Taylor film, I know.
you're probably the only person in the world that didn't see that movie. I'm just telling you, like
Did you watch Fallout yet
no, I don't.
on Amazon Prime?
No, I haven't gotten to Fallout yet.
Oh my god, it's amazing, dude! It's critically acclaimed. It's like the #1 show in the country right now.
Yeah, it's a freaking it's like zombies or something like that. Like all that zombie stuff and stuff. I don't know. That stuff just does not do it for me.
Oh, dude, it's hilarious. It's one
It
of
was
the
kind
best
of like
shows.
it was kind of like Walking Dead and stuff like that. Like Walking Dead, I never watched an episode of The Walking Dead.
Josh Breaking Bad.
I like Breaking Bad. I like
Whoa,
Breaking
whoa,
Bad.
whoa, whoa, whoa. You're talking about you don't like zombies, but you watch Game of Thrones because I told you to watch Game of Thrones, right?
Well, of
Game of
course I like
Thrones,
Game of Thrones.
dragons and
No,
White
but I like
Walkers and Night
I like
King.
I like I
Oh
like
my
dragons.
god!
I just don't
Oh
like
my
zombies.
god!
I just don't
What's
like
a white?
zombies.
What's a White Walker? It's the same thing. It's a mindless
No,
being that marches forward
no,
straight, slowly. It's the
no, but
same
not
thing.
everybody
Oh my
wasn't the
god!
whole thing was I think they had wizards and they had dwarfs and they had all
Yeah,
sorts of
it's
yeah,
oh
the
my
dragon
god!
fire. They had a lot of great stuff in there.
Oh my god! Oh my
I
god!
choose violence.
It's the greatest show of all time, other than Sopranos. Sopranos stops Game of Thrones, but it's #2 easily
Yeah.
because you've got the
Okay.
Hound, you've got the Lannisters. The Lannisters are the greatest family that's ever lived. They pay their debts.
They
Uh,
always pay the debts.
Tywin Lannister is the greatest character in the history of the show. even though he gets shot and killed on the toilet by his midget, bastard son. But hey,
No, it was the privy. It's called the privy.
what do you mean the privy? You don't ever
That's what
say
it's called.
privy.
That's what he called it.
When you go somewhere, you say privy. There's no way.
No, that's what he said. He was on that wooden thing. He's like, I'm here in the privy. You're not going to shoot me here in the privy.
Oh my God, you guys are killing me.
And he was sleeping with his ex-girlfriend.
Oh my God,
choked her out with a necklace.
But did he kill her? He didn't kill her though, did he?
Yeah, of course he did.
No, he did before he shot him on the privy.
Yeah, exactly.
See, look, Sarah says yes, Kirk, because she knows. She's probably saying Sopranos. She's probably saying She's probably saying Fallout. I mean, Fallout is a great show. Feel bad for you that you're not hip to it. I'm waiting for this Browns pick.
Daryl Green.
By the way, Donald and everybody, I deleted Jimmy Jack. I have one wrench member who's giving my kids a bath, who I bought an excavator for today. My other two homies might not be on here. So Jimmy Jack is no longer here. So I appreciate you, Donald and Karen. Thank you for being an ultra member.
All right, the Browns pick is up right now. We are going to the Browns pick. What did Jimmy Jack? Can you tell me what did Jimmy Jack do?
Oh, he wrote something stupid. ZZM said, "I still get." He's still 6. The teal one was not a bad guy. I totally agree. Did what it took to protect his family. I totally get that. Look, Buckeye Blitz said Nevada would love Fallout if you get a chance. Nevada is not cultured. Nevada is very much in his little element, which is fine. Fallout is one of the, I mean, for one, I spent more of my life playing Fallout than any video game of all time. And also, the show is excellent. And they spent a fortune on it because it's very true to form for the game. If you play the game, it's like incredible.
A lot of zombies.
Look.
Okay, the Browns.
The Browns are gonna, she said Sopranos again. Oh, is this guy a hockey player? Is he in the dub? No.
No, Ben Sinat. He played a hockey in Iowa.
Oh, he's a tight end at Kansas State. Who was his quarterback? Was it the backup freshman that everyone said was better than Will Howard? Let's watch the highlights.
Exactly.
Let's see if Will Howard's in the highlights. Let's watch. Tune in right now at ESPN.com in simulcast.
Will Howard. No, what a throw. Good job, Will.
Oh, look at the Hezzy. Oh, is that a touch? It's funny. Is that 18 at quarterback or is that the freshman? Oh, that's 18. Versus Missouri, which I was talking about. Look at that dime. Oh, and he hit with the Y button, the hurdle. It's funny, the Taylor family, Sarah, Andy, Joe, we're at the Peaks today, who is a proud Scoop sponsor, and they're just like, oh, look at this tunnel screen to the tight end. I love it. In the snow. Kyle McCord can never, but Will Howard could. And they didn't wear sleeves. I love that. Browns are up. Gio did it. We're ready for it, baby. We're going through the whole thing because Mike Hall is coming off the board. And honestly, I hope he doesn't go here. I hope he goes to Miami next pick because no state income tax and Tootsie's is down there. So shout out Mike Hall and Club Live. The Browns pick is in Nevada. Do you have a prediction? Is it Cade Stover? Is it Chip Kelly? They've got Carl Nassib walking in some very tight pants because
I think it'll be Carl Nassib. That'll be the pick.
Oh my God. The Big Ten named him the D lineman of the year over Joey Bosa because the Big Ten sucks. And they're just absolute morons. And
Michael Hall, the Browns took Michael. Let's go. Let's freaking go.
No, they didn't.
Let's freaking go. Mike Hall to the Browns.
Did they really?
Let's go. Nevada calls it in your face. Let's
you didn't
go.
Call that. I'm gonna rewind this.
I said that he'd be the next player taken over Cade Stover, and he got taken by the Browns. Let's go.
No, you said Trey Henderson. He's not even in this draft because you're
loyalty to him. Oh man, oh my God. Mike Hall to the Browns. What a great pick. Now we know the Browns are back, man. What a great pick.
The Browns are back. Look at Jack Sawyer. Look at Jack Sawyer's tattoo. Can you imagine how much
Look,
Vaseline you have to put on that arm when you have that big of a tattoo?
look,
That's crazy.
look at that. The
Like
Brown
there's
Michael. I told you, Mike
little
Hall.
Nevadabuck in that photo. That's good.
He was a good pick, man. I'm telling you what, that's a good value. That's a good value right there.
Baby was
Love.
born. He started the next day. See, Mike Hall smart 'cause he had the baby in season, so he could skip meetings on Friday and then play in the game on Saturday. That's genius. Oh, I love. I'll tell you what, man. There isn't a broadcast channel in the world that likes to have highlights versus Youngstown State more than Ohio State does. Because Marvin and Mike Hall, like 7 out of their first 10 clips were versus Youngstown State. So shout out Penguins for being a 1AA team. Here's
I
Mike.
liked it when the guy scored. He did the little penguin thing. Did the little penguin dance.
Hey, I was proud of him. That was good. I mean, it's good
Yeah,
for my boy Truss. I wanted Ohio State to
yeah.
win, but I also wanted Truss to go.
Oh,
Mike
little
Hall's from
penguin.
Cleveland. He's drafted out of the Browns. He's a member of Buckeye Scoop. Let's
I
go.
love it. Let's go.
Let's go, Mike Hall.
Post
I hope
us.
they get.
He
I hope they
posts
give him 51
posts
too.
us. He posts as Funky Buck. Funky Buck is Mike Hall. He said that I could not reveal that until he got drafted. But he gets drafted, so he is Funky Buck.
He posts Bill Greene. It's perfect.
Bill Greene. There we go.
Pooh Beard 12, thanks for being an ultra member. Thanks for the 5. Usually video game to stream adaptations are trash, but Fallout is an absolute winner. If you had an NFL team, would you rather have Trey or Q? Nevada, we can go out on this one. Would you rather have Trey Henderson or Quinshon Judkins? This is a minus 100 million
No.
answer in Vegas.
Let me give you my answer though. Trey, only because I haven't seen Quinshon for a full year, but I like what I've seen out of Quinshon. And I mean, is there a chance that Quinshon ends up being better than Trey Henderson? Absolutely. But that's not a dig at Trey. That's just how much I think of Quinshon. I think Quinshon is an absolute stud. What I've seen has been unbelievable. I can't wait to see him as a Buckeye, but I just haven't seen enough of him to pick him over Trey. So that's why. So ever so slightly, Trey Henderson over Q.
How slightly?
Very slightly.
Ever so?
Ever so slightly.
I like it. That's fantastic. The Dolphins are up. Well, this has been fun, Nevada. Let's wrap this thing up on Mike Hall going to the Browns.
I called it. I told you doubted me. I called it. They're in your face, Barton.
What you have it at?
Your face.
Plus 10,000, Mike Hall to the Browns.
In your face, dude. I so
plus
that
10,000.
one. Run the tape back, man. Run the tape back. Nevadabuck owns the 2024 NFL draft. Let's just we can all say it, know it, live it, learn it, live it, know it. Patrick's grandfather was Johnson Iguisi Iranisi. I don't know who that is. Oh, he was with Queen Elizabeth.
You're watching NFL Network, obviously.
He was the former president of Nigeria. This guy, Patrick, was the former president of Nigeria. I don't know if that's good or not. That's weird.
The president of Nigeria?
Yeah, he was involved in the Congo War way back when. Like, wow.
So you can tell him stop sending the prince the gold money, I guess. I've got gold behind a vault.
Exactly.
If you send me the money.
Yeah, exactly.
If you send me the money under Sapphire Gentlemen's Club, Las Vegas, it'll
never run up a tab. What a rookie move, running up a tab at Sapphire. Don't ever run up a tab at Sapphire, man. They will rip you off. Pay cash for your drinks as you go along, man. That's the veteran move right there. Just have a roll of hundreds and just pull them off and go. That's the way to do it.
Just say, give me another 2 of them drinks for quick hundo.
Two of them drinksies, exactly. 2 of them drinkies.
Give us 2 of them drinksies. We have to go do a podcast in a minute, so make sure that we're ready.
Exactly.
Oh my God! All right, we're gonna wrap this thing up before we get thrown in prison. We appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for kicking with us as always. If you guys enjoy this content, please leave us a like, click subscribe. Also, click that little alert bell. If you guys like great country music, download our girl Andy Joe's Taylor single on iTunes. Search Andy, which is ANDI space Joe JO space Taylor TAYLOR. Search for it. You'll find her hit singles. Again, she's excellent. She sang the national anthem at her last broadcast. It was fantastic. So we appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for kicking with us as always. Shout out who you guys are watching with. Shout out where you guys are watching from. Let me know who do you want, the Browns, the Bengals, or the Steelers, or whoever your team is to take next. Is Cade Stover next off the board? Does he go tonight? Put that down in the comments. I'd love to hear your comments. I read all your comments, so I appreciate you guys as always. Thank you so much, Buckeye Nation, and thank you, Scoop family. I'm going to talk to you guys tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, draft recap show. It'll be great. Thank you guys for everything. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Go Bucks.